Welcome to another episode of the Global Green Action Project, a place where we get to meet amazing heroes doing great changes in the world to make it a more compassionate, kinder place through animal, humanitarian, and environmental initiatives. I'm your host, Jennifer, and today the conversation is going to be an interesting one. You see, the expert interview is actually one done of myself on a recent interview I had for my second book launch in the Gwendoline, the Magical Gentle Dragon series of mindfulness books for children to have less stress and anxiety. So, the conversation today is all about tips and tricks to support global family and our youth be able to share their stories and do the same to help make the world a better place. So, having said all that, let's get right into that conversation and learn some great tips and tricks so that we can all be empowered to continue on the power of storytelling to help each other and help heal the world. Hello, beautiful people. I'm Jennifer. I'm an educator, mindfulness and wellness specialist. I'm also a life success and well-being coach. On top of that, I'm also the author of a #1 international best-selling children's book called Breathe Like Gwendoline, the Magical Gentle Dragon: How to Use Your Powerful Healing Breath to Help Stress Disappear. Now, I am excited to share I have created a second book for the Gwendoline Magical Gentle Dragon Mindfulness Adventures. So, my next upcoming book is right beside me, and it's Gwendoline's Magical Mindful Coloring Book. And I'm so excited to share it with the world to support children to have a most resilient and happy life. So you ask, what is my schedule like when it comes to writing my stories? Well, it's an interesting process, actually, especially when you're writing a series to go along with the theme of your story, if you will. Now, this is the second book in the stories of magical adventures with Gwendoline and her friends. And so it really takes place when I use mindfulness throughout my day, which is what the books and the series is about. Mindfulness is a powerful tool to help us live our most resilient and happy life. It allows us to take pause, breathe, be truly present in the moment. It allows us to tap into our zen, our flow, our creative juices so that we can be the best versions of ourselves and perform at our best no matter what we love to do. Maybe it's singing, maybe it's running, maybe it's jogging, maybe it's just reading a book. Maybe it's being with loved ones. And in this case, it's writing a story, being inspired to write a magical story to empower children to live their best life. So, yes, mindfulness is part of the big part of my daily activities when I'm writing a story. Taking pause, breathing so I can be in the moment, be inspired, so that that creative flow allows me to start the story, find out what's in the middle, and find a brilliant ending to inspire children to live their resilient and happy life. Question is, how do books get published? Well, my particular books started off as being self-published. In this day and age, we're very lucky that we can actually create stories and we can get them out into the world and share our mission and our passion with others to help them go through magical journeys with us and adventures by writing those stories and finding ways to publish. And in my case, I chose self publishing, and I actually created a publishing company called Mindful Sprites Publications, which is really cool. And that's the other part of it is I'm actually also a publisher of my own stories and stories of others who come to me wishing to get their work done as well. So that's pretty exciting, and it's helped me help other people share their stories with the world. So the question is, what is one of the most interesting things I've learned along the journey of writing my stories? Well, there are many lessons I've learned along the way. One of them is that, when you first start writing a story and you get it published, you think it's pretty easy. When we get into journaling and we create stories on our own as a hobby, it's pretty easy, right? You write, you get inspired, but there's so much more involved when you actually want to publish it and share it with the world. There's a whole process. You have to work collaboratively with others. It means you have to find people that really understand your vision and your creativity so that you can work really nicely with them and be able to share that story out in the world. So number one, you have to be very good at being emotionally intelligent. It's called social emotional learning, actually, and it allows you to work really well with others. So community matters. So that's one of the big lessons I've learned, is to find ways to work with others efficiently and find people that really connect with you on a level so they understand you well. So communication is really, really important. And then, of course, there are many other lessons that one can learn. That's the biggest one, though, is communication and community, because it really matters. Like for a children's book, illustrations are a big deal to really bring your story to life. So the illustrator and yourself, you really need to connect really, really well, because the illustrator has to understand what's in your head. So again, going back to that community, that communication piece, I would say those are the top lessons I've learned in terms of just realizing how really important that is. That ties into mindfulness yet again, which is the lessons that I teach in my stories and in my day to day with students, children of all ages, in fact, with also my life coaching and so on. There are many other lessons I've learned along the way, but I think I'll keep it at those two in terms of our interview, because I really want to bring that home in terms of the communication and the importance of really working well with others. Because when we do that, we can solve all kinds of problems in the world. And it helps you have your most resilient and happy life. And ultimately, it helps global family do the same. And that's how we can heal the world. That's one of my biggest messages to everyone, is that when we work together in global community, we can make this world a better place. And it starts with ourselves and us being patient, good listeners, and good communicators, so that we can work together to solve problems and create beautiful stories and lessons and create beautiful things in the world. What makes a good story? What I think makes a good story? Great question. What makes a good story is something that you're passionate about, something that you really, really have a curiosity about as well. So, for example, I'm really passionate about mindfulness. I've seen the power it has in my own life and the life of others. Like, it makes their lives better, it makes us happier people, it makes us able to conquer challenges and help others do the same. So, when you're passionate about something like I'm passionate about mindfulness, you're able to find ways to support others with the strategies you've learned, the skills. And in my case, I decided to write stories as another way to support children to be inspired and learn the skills of mindfulness so that they can live their best life. And then they can be teachers and teach their families and their friends. And ultimately, this is like a domino effect. It helps make the world a better place. So, passion and a mission really helps. Knowing your why really helps you tap into your creative juices and empower yourself to share that mission, that inspiration, that passion with others. So the question is, do I have any suggestions on how one can become a better writer? Well, it's like anything, right? It's a skill. And when we practice something and we do it regularly with discipline, on a regular basis, it gets easier. It's like a muscle, it gets stronger. So when you practice your creative juices and your writing skills on a regular basis, even if you spend like 5 or 10 minutes a day, for instance, it gets easier and you tap into those creative parts of your brain and imagination that allow you to uncover more stories and more opportunities to share your stories with the world. So discipline, find a time each day where you just write, even if it's just journaling and just brain dumping ideas and being creative just for fun. That alone will help you get into the routine, and that's part of discipline. And when you do that regularly, it gets easier and you empower yourself to just become better at that particular skill. And in this case, it's becoming a better writer. Thank you so much for sharing your time with me and having this opportunity to just uncover the beauty of being a writer and sharing our stories with the world. It's been a delight, and I wish everyone a wonderful journey and adventure as they share their stories with the world. Thank you so much for this time. Wish you well. Bye for now.